What's up?
What's up, everybody?
I already have Stefan,
Stefan,
Josh Drago,
Dragos, the usual
and
suspects.
Nick. But yeah, been a while since we've been on. We were just talking about that with Matt
Yeah, I
backstage.
don't even know how to do a podcast anymore. I'm like, what do I do with my hands?
Yeah.
Out of practice.
God, I remember them first ones. Like,
They're rough.
What do we do?
That's nothing. Go back and look at your old, like if you did any YouTube videos when you first started. God, I went back and watched my first one the other day. I was like, why did I do that? Shouldn't even watch it.
Or watching your first TikToks. Ugh.
No, they're terrible.
Ugh. Anyway. Oh, we're good, brother. Nick asked how everyone was.
Yep. Austin.
What's up, Austin?
Not really.
Yeah, haven't been pushing hell. Just finally, like, I've been dead since August. Don't know what's been going on, but finally it's picked up to normal. And but
we had a storm, but it was storm over county next to us, and it was so small and so sporadic. Like there's not much there, so like people aren't seeing it. So we're trying to find ways to battle that and get them to be like, hey, at least let us come look at your car, bring your car here, and let's look at it.
Yep.
Might be surprised. So we're working on that, but it is what it is, and it's not May yet, so I'm not.
It's not May, you know.
And I don't base the business on hell. Like that's always an added perk. So
yeah, April and May are usually your heaviest.
Yeah,
but I mean, like 2023, it didn't stop hailing all year long. So
right,
you know.
Yeah, you got an airstream coming. Ugh.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? I thought the Southeast was going to get hit fairly hard this year, early on, and yeah, I'm not going to the casino because I can't predict crap, and I'm not lucky and all that kind of stuff. But anyway,
we've had bad storms, just not hail on top of us. Like it's been pretty rowdy around.
A lot of wind, a lot of rain. But other than that, I mean, you've had a lot of areas that have gotten hit. It's just not our areas, and not enough to create damage.
Right.
Anyway,
it is what it is.
It is what it is. But we got a good show tonight, and we know Matt's been on. He was on Smash Masters early on with them, and usually we don't go back and forth unless it's been a while. But it has been a while, and he's grown a lot since then. So we definitely want to get him on, and we talked to him some at MTE, and wanted to get to know him better because that's what we do. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and get him on. What's up, Matt?
Good evening, everybody.
Now you're going to have to pronounce your last name.
I was about to say first question.
Thanks for asking. It's Dozois.
Dozois. Okay. There you go, Stefan. Stefan's like, make sure you ask what his last name is because we did not.
Well, I mean, where's that name from? Like where?
French.
It sounds
like
from Louisiana.
It's very French, but it's more French Canadian, like not French in France and Europe. I'm originally from Minnesota, so there's a lot of French Canadians there, and somewhere somehow that's where it got tagged.
More northern towards Canada than southern. UNAS. So
exactly. Yep.
I can hear a little Minnesota.
If you start talking Creole, I won't know anything you're saying at all.
The only thing I know about Creole seasoning, I put it on my chicken.
I'm right there with you.
Anyway, well, cool, man. So let's go ahead and get a quick background of how you we know you do PDR and we know you do paintless collision. So, and you're in a body shop still. So, why don't you give us the background, like what you did before you got in the body shop and to where you are right now?
So I've been in the collision industry for 10 years. This was my 10th year. I spent 2 years of the 10 on the refinish side, learning how to paint and prep, but I learned pretty early on that I didn't have as much of an interest for it as I did watching the body men work metal and repair panels and things like that. So I made the switch then, but I grew up around the body shop. My father and my grandfather were both body men. So it was just kind of natural how I ended up into the industry, but it definitely wasn't a plan or a desire of my parents for me to become a body man.
That's usually how it is when you're
right.
parent or somebody's in there. They don't want you to do the same thing.
Same here.
Right. I remember telling my dad, like, you should show me how to work metal or, show me how to weld. And he's like, you need to go pick up a book because this life isn't for you. But he was wrong. I mean, such is life. So anyways, I got into the industry after I had attended a semester at a local technical college for automotive collision and refinishing. At that point in my life, I was in my real early 20s. I was working kind of a dead end job, kind of meandering through life. I didn't have a direction or really a hard set goal of where I wanted to be. But the girl I was dating at the time, she was going to school to be a nurse, and she told me flat out that she's not going to date a bum. So either I figure something out or she's going to figure something else out, right? So I ended up saying, right, motivation. I ended up just saying, you know what, screw it. I'm going to go ahead and see what the body work is about. And I spent a semester doing that, and me and another colleague, classmate of mine, I remember after that semester, the instructor, he would sit down with guys and, kind of talk to them about where they thought they were at or where they think they should be. And I remember that instructor telling me, flat out, like, you need to quit coming to school. And I thought to myself, like, man, I chased away another opportunity, right? But he's like, no, honestly, you and this other guy, you guys will do a lot better if you get into a body shop at some type of level and just start doing some hands-on learning. So I took that for what it was. Leap of blind faith, I guess you could call it. And the journey started there 10 years ago. For me, being a body man, it's never really been a job. It's not really something I look at as like a career. It's always been a calling. And the reason why I say that is, working on cars for me, I don't know if I can recall a time where I looked up at the clock on the wall, to count down how many more hours or how many more minutes I had left in the day. So I knew very early on that this was going to be a passion of mine, and this was something that I was interested in. And I think like anything in life that I've done, it's all in or it's not. But being that we're talking paintless dent repair, I started my journey in PDR, and I still don't consider myself a PDR technician to this day. I'm still a student. We're still all students of life, right? It's when I moved out to Denver, Colorado, like I said earlier in the podcast. Being from Minnesota, growing up for me at least, we did get hail. It wasn't huge. It wasn't like a huge hail prone thing. I don't remember a whole lot of storms that were consistently coming through the Twin Cities. So even being in the body repair shop, I wasn't really exposed to a lot of just paintless dent repair. In general, we had a PDR guy that would, he'd come in, he'd be there like 20, 30 minutes, collect his money and leave. And I never really saw him do anything. I guess I wasn't really paying attention. But I do remember to this day, like all the body men, kind of complaining that there's the PDR guy again coming in to slurp up the gravy and
slurp it up.
It was so foreign to me at the time. But then, it kind of was a double whammy when the estimators are like, man, they come in and make all this money. They work for themselves. And I'm like, man, that sounds like a dream. Why aren't we all doing this, right?
Right. So easy.
Right. No kidding. But back to where things really started getting involved for me. It's when I moved to Denver, Colorado, and I moved into Denver in 2017. which a lot of guys that are tuning into this podcast or will be later, they probably remember that storm or even worked that storm. That was the first time I was like gloves off exposed to paintless dent repair. And even though that was hail repair, which is a niche within a niche, that was the first time I saw lights double stacked on a roof, and a guy on the back of the truck sitting there with his hail bar, just watching this metal move and flow. And I just remember being in awe with it. But I saw a value or a potential value at the time for maybe trying to dabble and incorporate what those paintless dent repair technicians were doing, but on the collision end. The boss that I worked for at Nyland's Collision Center in Denver, he's all about quality. One of the things that he was adamant about is that if we were going to paint a panel, or i.e. refinish a panel, he didn't want to paint over chips, dents, or scratches, right? So when I first came out to Denver, being the low man on the totem pole in the body shop, trying to kind of figure out where I belonged, I spent a lot of time on the paint side, cleaning up door dings, just things like that. The thing about it is that, being at the shop none of the body men had stud welders. Like, he didn't allow that in his shop because he didn't want any corrosion issues. He didn't want any liability on his end for, maybe putting a stud welder on the wrong type of metal. Yeah. These are all types of things that he was forward thinking about. So I realized like very early on that I needed to find a way to actually like fix that instead of just, taking a little bit of glazing putty on a razor blade and just swiping the dent and then, block sanding it. To me, that was never really fixing it. So I saw these, these little glue tabs and stuff these guys were using on the rails when they were doing glue pulling, and I thought to myself, like, hey man, like I wonder if that would stick in a dog leg or a rocker area or something like that. And so I ended up, talking with the paintless dent repair techs that were there and kind of picking their brains, and they were very open with the knowledge, but I always felt like they were very careful about not giving away the secret ingredients, right? So it was very much on me to go. I would remember going to Kiko and getting a couple of dead center tabs and some tab weld, and just honestly trial and error playing with that. And then around that time is when I saw a video with Jonathan. I think he was with Kiko at the time, where he was glue pulling this big smash repair on, I think it was a red Euro of some sort, and he did it without grinding the paint. And to me as a body man, that was like so foreign to me, that you can move that mass amount of metal cleanly without ever grinding the paint back and losing your sight. So that's when I really started becoming interested in paintless dent repair. And that's when I started creating that hybrid, that marriage between being a body man and also being, very amateurishly a paintless dent repair technician.
So real quick, you said that the body shop you were at, he didn't believe in having the stud pullers and stuff like that.
Correct.
Since you really didn't have the glue pull systems, then how were they doing the repairs without that? Without a stud puller and stuff? Like, what were they doing?
Straightening.
Okay.
So, like, for example, access was everything. None of the body men at that shop were afraid to gut a car to get, access to the backside of a panel.
Well,
so for a large portion, I would say probably 90 to 95% of our repairs were hammer and dolly. And we did our best to keep the filler off the panel, which, that was a new way of repairing cars. For me, at least, coming from a different shop background where, it wasn't so much like cave and pave. It was just literally, you knew that you weren't going to be able to metal finish it. You knew it wasn't going to be 100% perfect. So when in doubt, you left it a little bit low and you swiped it and you blocked it and you moved on with your day. Being thrown into that environment, I had to very quickly change everything that I had learned up to that point.
You really had to learn metal work itself.
Correct.
And learn how to do all that. So
correct.
Steven.
A little ode to Steve. Hey, why don't you go screw up somebody's rug, asshole?
Oh, anyway. Anyway, so you moved on to seeing Jonathan's videos and all that glue pulling and stuff.
Yeah, and at that time, I remember, and I could be wrong with this, but I remember at that time, like, I don't know if the L2E, like those type of systems were like being mass produced. I remember like it was very vague and hard for me to navigate like tool specific sizing wise for what I was trying to do. Like the Kiko centipedes were out, I know that for sure. And the super tabs were out, and those were what I bought for my setup. And I remember getting I think it's a 2 and a 5 pound slide hammer from Kiko. And then as time went on, I went ahead and invested in a K bar for myself. And then, after a lot of saving at that point in my career, like I went out and got a K beam. But the thing of it is like, there was little to no understanding of what I was doing. It was trial and error for me at that time.
Well, that was mainly for us too. Kiko was coming out with the super tabs and the centipedes and all that, but it was trial and error for everybody.
Right.
And that's what that right there furthered along Kiko's, obsession with
look how many people
they're doing now. So
yeah, look at the body guys that's learning PDR now through Kiko, or I just seen Gene Fetty had a glue pulling class where it looked like the body guys in his class. So it's really cool to see that meshing over into PDR, not necessarily finishing dents, but using the glue to get cleaner repairs at the end of the day. I like that a lot better.
Right. And I think that, right now, to touch on that, like from even though I'm within the industry, I'm still somewhat outside of the industry. I think right now we're in one giant experiment as far as what we're capable of. I mean, guys like Bryce Kelly and Matt, and there's quite a few others that might even be watching this right now that are day in, day out pushing the limits of what's possible. And I think that's a unique thing to be a part of.
Brandon Schmitz, he's over doing Airstreams and shit. I'm like, nah, I'm good, bro. You can have it.
No, it's definitely, it is coming a long way in the last 5 years.
Right. To Stefan's question. Go ahead.
Anyway, go ahead.
I'm gonna get to Stefan's question real quick. He said, "How did you shrink metal, or did that determine replacement?"
Talking about the
cold
and stuff.
So to answer your question, Stefan, in that specific environment at that shop, if it needed heat applied to it, 9 times out of 10, that would determine the panel being replaced or not. Now, my opinions have changed as I've progressed in my career, but that was the way it was done back then, is that if we had to put any type of heat on it that was past whatever that metal, that MPA allowed for, then yes, we would scrap the panel. And I could be wrong as well too, but I don't think there was a whole lot of knowledge, especially in the body shops, of the induction heaters and shrink boxes at that time.
Yeah.
So there probably was an answer for it where, typical body shop, we're just going to replace the panel, right? Mm-hmm. But that was the way it was done at that shop.
Gotcha. Awesome. So how does John said we finally stopped doing the show in the middle of the night. But no, you just had to come. You had to fly a little ways.
Yeah, you just here now. So.
Right.
So yeah, so you saw you getting into the PDR stuff. You saw the Hill guys and stuff.
Right.
I know it's intriguing and stuff. So what? I'm assuming now, that you're doing a lot. I know you're doing a lot more of the PDR in-house type stuff.
Right.
Is it like a 50-50? Are you still doing more conventional repair now? Or are you doing more of the PDR or the PCR, the paintless collision repair what are you moving to? What's your end goal in this? Are you trying to go full time? Are you enjoying the hybrid? You know.
So right now for me, you know, I'm in a great situation at where I work and what I'm able to do as far as a technician, as a body technician. A lot of the times I do end up with the paintless collision repair stuff. A lot of the times the unfortunate aspect is, by nature of it being at a body shop, it has some type of paint damage. But we also do get a blend of hail at the shop as well too. So on any given week, I might be doing a smash repair. I might be doing some light hail repair cleanup, or I might be doing a structural replacement on a vehicle.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, my eventual goal is paintless dent repair. And, you know, for me, I love the idea of chasing hail and the opportunities that it would bring for my family, financially, and just the goals that I have as an individual. Um, but I also love moving metal.
Yeah.
And to answer your question, right now I'm just enjoying everything I can do and just soaking it all in. I don't
That's
really have to make a huge hard decision one way or the other. Right now I'm just trying to hone in on my craft, especially after coming back from training, and just see where everything takes me.
Well, that's the good thing, is that if you're, I mean, it doesn't matter what you do as long as you're happy.
Yeah.
It sounds like
Right.
you're very
Like I
happy,
said,
like where you're at right now.
You're not staring at that clock all day. You're happy. You're
Right.
more or less, if you're looking at it, it's because you're like, oh shit, I got this much time to get this done, you know, instead of the opposite.
Or 2 hours, or I should have been here 2 hours ago, or I forgot to make that phone
Yeah.
call. Right. Exactly.
You know,
I love the fact that you're investing in yourself too. You know, you went through with buying the Kiko stuff, and now you're investing in your training. Like that's
Yeah.
huge. It means it shows where you want to be and stuff. That while you're investing in yourself.
So let's
think
talk.
it's go ahead.
No, finish that, and then we'll
Oh,
move into.
I mean, I think the investment, you know, for anybody, I think it's a non-negotiable, like in whatever you do, career wise. Specifically, we're talking paintless dent repair today. I think that we as people in life, we get to decide our path. I mean, there's a lot of things that are outside of our control, but I think that at the end of the day, we do get to control our destiny and what we do and the decisions we make and in the investment that we put in ourselves. I think that will pay dividends.
Exactly.
Couldn't agree more.
So I was gonna move on to this, but I see Nick had asked the question.
Yeah, I waited for you to ask it.
Tell us about how your training was down there with Matt Boyette and the Dent Slayer. How'd that go?
It was incredible.
You don't have to lie. I mean,
we know he's a jerk.
No,
not sponsored by him anymore.
It really was incredible. And I'm not getting paid to say that, right?
Oh,
For me, going down to train with Matt, to me, it was literally that final step that was, I felt like 10 years in the making of my career. I felt like all the time I've spent on metal, all the things I've done, everything I've experienced, like it was building a staircase up to that final level where I got to go down and train with you know, who I believe to be one of the best. You know, there's few technicians that I can think of that can hop to so many different areas of a repair. You know, complexity aside, it doesn't matter. So for me, that was a cherry on the top for my career. It's because I feel like the things that I learned with him, and the light bulbs that went off, they were things that it didn't matter how many more hours I was willing to put on something, or how hard I was willing to try. I had hit a stopgap in my career as far to how far I could go without being trained in person, especially. So, I mean, immediately after I got back, and I got a lot of stuff handled at the body shop as far as getting my builds put together and stuff after I was gone, you know, immediately on the first repair I did, it was on a Buick Encore liftgate, and it was pretty stretched. It went into the tail lamp pocket a little bit there and jacked it up and threw a nasty high there. And, you know, it had some stretch impact points in the valleys. I was able to move that more efficient and cleaner than I would have in the past. I would have been able to repair that damage in the past, but just having that understanding and those principles instilled, it made all the difference. And that's why, you know, I say it was a career changing thing for me.
It makes you use your brain, think outside the box. But seeing somebody else that is able to do that type of stuff, which Matt went through the same thing that that you're going through, that I've been through, you know, that
I haven't been through.
It just makes you think outside the box. So even if you're not moving into full PDR right now, what you learned with him in the advanced stuff, more of the paintless collision repair, even as a hybrid tech, now you're able to move a lot of that back a lot faster to get it to even to a point of, you know, grinding it and sanding it down and priming and skim coating, you know, compared to, like you said, there's so many times that back before we had all this glue pull systems and the retention stuff and all that it's not that we couldn't fix it, because I'd fix it.
Right.
But you're forcing a lot of it back.
Right.
Now with the retention, stuff like that, you're able to move it back. And
I feel like we're imposing our will on the metal. I mean, when you understand the metal flow and how to unlock things like that, like we're very predictably imposing our will on the metal, and we're telling it what needs to happen and in what sequence, and it makes damage, you know, complexity aside, it makes it a lot less intimidating and a lot more predictable.
Yeah. You're gonna take this push and you're gonna like it.
Well, it's like me. Like last week, I had smashed in bedside, and it had gone into the wheel well on that backside, and it wasn't overstretched by any means, but it was starting to flop on that bottom body line on this ram, and I'm like, there's tension somewhere, and I couldn't see it, and it's just one of the things you got to start thinking, you know, okay, let me just take a step back, and then I finally realized that edge of that wheel well was, I mean, still just ever so slightly in. And
little things like that make a difference.
Once I saw that and was able to correct that, then it took it strengthened the metal down there where I needed it, and then I could finish it out. But it's sometimes you're just so focused on one thing. And I know most PDR techs are just focused on door dings and small stuff. When you start constantly working on big smashes and stuff like that, and you're starting to think outside the box, sometimes you do get that tunnel vision and you're just focused on this one area. But when I just put stuff down, I'll walk away. Sometimes I'll go home at night. I'll dream about it and fix it in my head. And I'll come back in the morning and be like, that's exactly, that's the reason it was doing it. And it's just something you were just focused. But that's the good thing about you training with Matt, is he's teaching you to think outside the box, to really start understanding the metal flow on it.
Yeah, he's crazy with that stuff. Like, his out of the box thinking is mind blowing.
To start moving it back faster, cleaner, and yeah, what did James? Oh, he missed that.
Yeah.
Yep.
I like how your microphone right now, Brandon. It looks like a laminate board or something. It's like it's got a cool and warm lens. Be dreaming about light boards. Let's talk about, you said you went, you made your first trip to MTE this year. I know you was at the Willie Quick booth. How did all that come about?
So, yes, it was my first year at MTE. I've been trying to make it out for a couple of years. Timing was just never right, but this year the stars aligned. I've been working with the Willies, both Rob and Bobby, for honestly pretty much nonstop. There's been a couple month lull since the storm in 2023 is when I met them out in Denver here, and I've been doing R&I for them. to supplement my income in the body shop and also continue exposing myself more and more to the side of the industry that I want to be a part of. So over time, I've made really good friends with those guys. Like, they become, like Colorado family to me out here.
They're so awesome people too. They're such great people. We love them really quick.
Yeah, they've been Rob and Bobby have been supportive of me and my dream since like day one. I think they realized early on that I was invested, and they reciprocated that by giving me their time and their knowledge and their support. So this year, they asked, or I guess I told them that I was going to be going to MTE, and they asked if I would come to the booth with them and help out, which, that was another highlight of the year, to be able to do that and meet a lot of people I never would have met before. And just the whole MTE experience as a whole, the education day, the networking. I remember leaving Florida, coming back to Denver, just like on a high, because it was such a cool experience. I
still do. This is I don't know, I've been to 5 or 6, maybe more. I can't even count now, but like even as many as I've been to, I still come back with that high. So it's always awesome to go down there and get re-energized when you go down there and see everybody and hang out and talk shop.
I just wish I didn't lose my voice every time, but
yeah, I wonder how that happens.
Out, baby. So yeah, it was MTE was probably the biggest one so far. Actually, I know
that's what I heard.
That's what I heard. It just keeps on.
And of course, next year we will be back at Rose and Shingle, which
they're already getting rooms.
The Gaylord was your first one. Rose and Shingle is going to. So go ahead and book. You could go ahead and go on MTE and go ahead and reserve. It is a little bit cheaper than Gaylord. That's good.
Yeah,
that's what I hear.
They do take cash, and it's got.
And they got the pool bar
everywhere. They absolutely love us there, and we love that place. So
I just like the fact that the pool bar, like, seems like it's Gaylord. There's so many places people go and hang out. Like the pool bar, everybody comes to. So you're going to see everybody at the pool bar.
Yeah. That's awesome.
James said they was next to the Willie Quick booth at Dent Slayer at DB Expo and got to know them. They all very awesome, very generous. I agree.
That's awesome. I saw you guys were posting that. I'm like, that couldn't be more perfect.
Yep.
Yeah.
Can't believe they're grandparents now too. So.
I know, right? I love Melissa too, man. Melissa, like, where you stand with Melissa. She don't care. I love that bluntness. Like,
I would rather how genuine she is.
Yes. I'd rather hear it that way.
Always exactly what she's thinking.
Exactly. It's so awesome.
Well, we're over the halfway point, so let's move into who you are outside of the PDR world, since that's mainly what we like to talk about. So, start off. Are you married? Do you have kids?
So I'm 32 years old. Sorry, 31 years old.
Oh,
after I turned 30, I started forgetting the age, right?
But 40 gets worse.
I have 2 sons, Jackson and Griffin. Jackson is 6 years old and Griffin is 3 years old.
Fun ages.
2 beautiful boys. Awesome time right now. I feel like this is the best time.
Enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm trying to soak it up as much as I can. I think anybody that's on, a parent on here that's watching, I think that they know, at those ages, it can be a little testing because that's their job. They're figuring out life. They're figuring out what they can get away with, what they can't get away with. And,
they like
it's going to be gone one day. Oh, yeah. Yeah, bad. In fact, last night when I got home, my youngest had given my oldest a bloody nose. So
that's usually how it is. Like the youngest one is usually
Griffin's he's a bruiser and he's got a lot to prove to his brother for sure.
That's hilarious.
Awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. What do y'all like to do?
So they've lived in Colorado their entire lives, so this is all they've ever known. But we like to get out and enjoy the mountains as much as we can. Whether it be summer, winter, any season, every season. That's where we spend a lot of time making memories. We like to do camping, a lot of family hiking, things like that. So it's really cool being a parent. Like, you know, you grew up in one state and you knew what that was like. And it feels like, you know, we're kind of just, now that we're all in Denver, we're in Colorado together. It feels like we're all starting a whole new fresh life, or at least that's the way it's felt since I've been out here.
When you get to your wife, how long you been married?
So I'm not married, but I've been with the mother of my children, Bailey, my girlfriend, longtime girlfriend, partner. We've been together for it's going to be 8 years.
So it's the same girl that gave you the ultimatum of
no, that is not the same girl.
Okay.
It actually worked out for both of us, you know.
Perfect.
I don't know, you know, shoulda, woulda, coulda. I don't know where I would have been at in life. Who knows where she would have been at, but we are where we are today. So yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Does she what does she do?
So she's a stay-at-home mom. When I met her, she was a general manager of an Eddie Bauer store back in Minnesota. And she was working on going back to veterinary school. That was her dream. And then lo and behold, unexpectedly, unplanned, our firstborn was on the way. So things changed. You know, I was living at home with relatives, and so was she back in Minnesota. And I like, as soon as we found out we were going to be parents, like that's when the switch flipped and the grind turned on for me, and it was all or nothing. And you know, I found an opportunity to move out here to Denver and chase my dream, and I brought the family along, and we never looked back. So
that's awesome, dude. That's awesome.
What a more beautiful place to raise a family in freaking Colorado, too. Like,
definitely not.
I'm okay with
not Mobile, Alabama.
Oh,
not Mobile.
Right.
You learned a lot of bad things in Mobile.
Yeah.
I know what gunshots sound like.
I heard that for the first time in Denver.
Really?
Yeah, it's a little quieter in the Twin Cities.
Yeah. Luckily, out where I'm at, well, I do hear it, but it's usually not
a few streets over.
Yeah.
So,
what, a couple weekends ago, it was the Jazz and Blues Festival. That was just a big freaking nightmare here. And then this past weekend, just look up 2025 Horse Show.
Horse or horse?
Horse. Yeah,
okay.
Horse
show.
Hey, I wouldn't put it past Mobile.
No, this thing
got the whole show in town.
So basically, dirt roads out in the southern part of the county, and it pulled the same numbers pretty much as the Blues and Jazz Fest, and the horses were just all ghetto up and down the dirt road.
Nice.
And they were
no kidding
videos of women drunk trying to hit each other with street signs, and then they go over there stabbing each other, and like, really, like
the content creates itself. Right?
I mean,
I don't think you
welcome to Mobile.
Oh man,
it was just Anyway, so
whereabouts was that road?
I have to send you a link later.
You're right, right.
Because it's just, man.
Yeah, I'm out.
Yeah. Anyway,
I think I've seen video. Like, I don't know if it's the same place, but like one of the wide receivers for the Carolina Panthers, he got a horse and he was riding with a bunch of people like that and stuff. So
probably.
He's more country than I am. It's crazy.
Dude, it's a crazy place here. Anyway, now I'm blank. I'm drawing a blank.
Dude, we were out of practice. This is terrible. We're supposed to know how to interview people.
What do I do with my hands?
Sorry, Matt. We're not bringing our A game tonight.
No, you're good.
Well, see, this is why, sometimes we can talk for 30 minutes about who you are outside the PDR world, and sometimes we end up getting right back to PDR or whatever.
Real quick, while we got, looks like a quiet moment. Ryan Hampton's doing a Hail Expo again this year. I'll do a shout out for that. I think dates are TBD right now. It will be in St. Louis. So anybody in the Hail game or interested in the Hail game, that'd be a great thing to go to network with other Hail guys and some stuff like that. So be on the lookout for news on it.
Dang, Chris, we already talked about this. Gosh,
Goals for the year. For the year, when did we talk about them for the year?
not for the year. I mean, but
about
like
long
the
term.
end game is, no. Matt? What's your goals for the year?
My goals for the year.
Yeah. Chris wants to know what's your goals for the next year.
He's trying to help us out.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it, Chris. Thanks. Because I think we were all three drawing a blank. Appreciate it, man. So right now, my biggest goal is to continue putting in the time and hone in on everything that I've learned, collectively in the past, but, more importantly, what I learned training with Matt. And right now, even though I'm doing body work, doing metal work at the shop, I'm still trying to I've been getting to the shop about an hour earlier than I usually do. And I've been leaving about an hour past when I usually do, because right now I'm in the middle of working on this smashed up Ram door that it got replaced in the insurance. But I ended up wanting to repair that door, but I kind of got vetoed on that. So that thing's been testing me. It's got quite a bit of damage on it, a lot of different types of damage, stretch damage, soft damage. It's something that I got to throw some lateral tension straps on. So a lot of different things going on with that, but in a roundabout way, spending a lot of time focusing on honing in on my skill set. My biggest goal for this year, though, is I want to enter in the Dent Olympics for 2026.
Whew, that's a big
or
goal.
2025, sorry, 2025.
Yeah.
Or it would be 26. Sorry.
It'd be 26, yeah.
Yeah, I heard there was a beginners.
That's in Vegas.
Beginners thing. So I think it's within 1 to 2 years after you've been trained, and I think you have to be sponsored to do that. So just right now, trying to focus on getting to that level to where I can do something like that. Because I am goal oriented. Like even if they seem grandeur or outlandish, like if I'm not chasing that next bar, I feel stuck, and that's not anything I ever want to do. So,
well, just do like Chris and jump straight into the Dent Olympics like he did.
Kudos to him.
Yeah,
kudos to him.
I mean, might as well. I mean, you can fix. You can fix that type of dent. I
just don't ever want to come across as arrogant to ever think that, I could go and compete with guys. I mean, that they train year round on those type of dents.
Everybody.
It becomes
don't even think that way, because really not all of them do. There's only certain ones that do, but they travel as some of the international, like Diego. Yeah, he trains for that stuff.
Right.
John. I mean, he'll tell you he doesn't train for it. I mean, but he's done enough of it, that type of dent, to where speed and accuracy and cleanliness, I mean, it comes into play. But it's not about the majority of every tech that does it. It's not about, oh, look at me. It's something that's a self-gratifying thing. So.
And that's more or less what it would be about for me. It's just, realizing those goals and realizing those dreams. Like, I guess it'd be the pinnacle of working towards something, and the hard work that it takes to get to that point.
Just tape up your cherry cap.
Or get some black magic tips. Black magic.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
No, I don't get paid to say that, but I love those things. Man,
so do I. So do I.
I need to make another order.
They save the day.
Yeah,
absolutely. They hold on tighter than a cherry cap, and it's a different push. It's a little more firmer of a push to me, and I like it's in between. I love it. Sometimes I feel like cherry cap gets in trouble.
On all your R4 tips, or you played and dabbled with? I saw he's got some of the caps for like sharp tips, like Excaliburs.
I got them all.
Like whale tail caps. Yeah, see, I need to get some of those.
Yeah, I like the ones. I put them. I got the Ultra Hail Twisters, and it's a little
nice.
40, and I put them on them. It's giving me that little softer push when I need it and stuff.
Right.
So it's crucial. Watching Diego's live video in Italy, when he was videoing the dent beforehand, talking about them, and I could see there was a video of them putting the dent in with the air cannon, and when they launched that nylon ball, I'm like, that didn't even sound near like it is an MTE. And Diego confirmed it. He's like, it was maybe a little bit worse than Germany, he said. But nothing like America.
Like, oh, really?
I know they're deep. They're right on the verge of stretching. I mean, it
right.
Kevin and they all do a great job with putting that stuff in. So
Corey Nichols said that do the beginners if you can. It made Thomas better. Thomas, he did the beginners. He went to the main one.
Did he?
But
that's good to hear.
But Corey trained Thomas, so I don't. Did anybody actually train you, Matt? Like as a beginner stuff? You went to advanced training, so not.
Yes, so like I never had formal training. You know, it was just learning the cold straightening aspects, understanding metal flow to some degree, a lot of trial and error. So I think that like those things created somewhat of a formula where like there was some natural or maybe some like earned ability on my end, but like I needed to be trained formally to kind of hit that next gear in my career and my skill set. So that was the first time I've been trained.
I can talk to Kevin to see if there's a way to do it. I mean, if you were wanting to do the beginner thing, but you'd have to go to Vegas in September.
And that's fine. That's fine.
I'll talk to Kevin, see if it has to be sponsored by an actual trainer or if you're self-trained, if you can do it that way. You know? And who knows? Boyette may sponsor you.
Well, I got to earn it, right?
Yeah. What all was involved with your training with Boyette? Like, what all did you guys get into during that training?
So we spent the first day. I mean, there's a video, I think it might even have got posted before this, of the main repair that entailed so many different things, you know, within it throughout the training session. But, you know, the first day we sat down and we talked about metal flow. You know, Matt spent time with me and, you know, he heard me out and kind of, I was kind of getting the idea. He was trying to gather what I thought I knew or what I did know, to see what he had to work with. But the first day, we had this Mini Cooper quarter panel that was smashed up pretty good. And that entire day, there was metal movement, there was actual repair being done, but it just blew me away how much metal theory and how much thought and process went into it before action did. And you know, that's something that was new to me on a different level, because I mean, as a body guy, at the end of the day, we know we have a paint booth to rely on, but when you take that leap over the Rubicon, right, you don't have a paint booth to fall back on. Like, you're not sending your repair out because you misjudged a push, or maybe you you performed an action too early or too late in the repair, where now something that was very manageable is not manageable, right? So that was a lot of the beginning portion of that training, was sitting down and talking about metal theory and how metal moves in sequences and how to unlock metal, to avoid creating additional damage or introducing additional forces into the panel that is already damaged and we're trying to repair or unfold. For me, like, training with Matt, we spent a lot of time on finishing, like the light angles, the tool selection, chasing the ideal body position, like not marrying myself to one view for too long. Like, these are all things that, you know, without that being explained to me, I probably just continue spinning circles in my repairs, because there is an art to it, and honestly, I think it's more of a science than anything. And you know, the damage that we did on that Mini Cooper, you know, Matt didn't just teach me how to fix that dent. Like, that was the dent we fixed, but it was all of the things that I learned doing that dent that now I feel like I have the confidence to go take on things and see it through at the level that I wanted to be at as a technician. But so that was just, the Mini Cooper. There was so many things that went into that. It was a smash. It was a very complex. I remember asking Matt, like, scale of 1 to 10, like, what would this be severity? And he's like, it's probably a 12, like, just because of how many things were going on. We couldn't glue pull. It was all tension and tooling because it was a repaint. It was actually a poor replacement of that quarter panel. The refinish held up nice. So there was a lot of things that were involved in that specific repair, where thinking outside the box, like you talked about, Brandon, earlier, it was not only imperative, but it was necessary. Like it opened my eyes to that. If I'm going to take on those type of repairs and those types of damages, like, it's one thing to be married to it with intention. Like, I was already there, but thinking outside of the box and realizing that there's really no recipe for this. Like, there's going to come a point in those type of repairs where you're not going to be able to go to your cart or go to your box and find a tool that's going to do what you need it to do. Like, you're going to have to think off the fly and do a little problem solving to get to that next level. And, that to me was invaluable. But we spent a lot of time. Matt did a lot of stretch metal repair and stretch metal theory, cold shrinking. We spent some time on a hood with different types of damage, playing around with the shrinking box. So that way I had a really good idea of what that repair process entails. Even as far as to go into, like, hey man, cook the paint. Like, you need to understand, like, the limitations or lack of limitations in this specific tool and this technique that you're doing. So I remember when Matt dropped me off at the hotel, my final day in training, like, I remember just, like, it was information overload, but in a good way. There was so much that I learned in that time with him that it was hard to process after it was all said and done. But what I do know is that, spending a week with a technician like Matt, by no means does that make me a 28-year technician. But what it did do for me is that it laid out a roadmap and gave me a visual of what it takes to be that type of technician. And me being a visual learner, that was a huge thing for me. That in-person training.
I'm the same way. I'm a very visual learner, but you learned how to map out the damage,
right? How
to step back and look and take your time on setting stuff up to put that tension back in it. That was a lot of our issues years ago. Is you just want to get in there and just attack the crap out of it. You want to force everything and try to do it as fast as you can. And you're creating a lot more damage in the long run that you have to repair.
Right.
And now, taking a step back and making it move slower basically to where you can fix it a lot faster by moving slower, by doing it right.
Right.
It's just
slow is fast.
You'll never stop learning, and I tell people that all the time.
Right.
I don't care if you've been in this business for 40 damn years. When you feel like you've stopped learning, then you're not.
You know it all. You're exactly right.
Yeah. Nobody. I mean, Bryce will tell you he's continuously learning.
Right.
Even guys he trains, Matt training you. There's something that Matt probably picked up from you. I
learned more.
Been one thing you said, he probably picked up something from you, training you. So
I learned more.
Like it was a good collaboration.
Yeah, I learned more of my losses than I do my wins. Like when I lose, I'm like, I've learned a lot more than just fixing a dent. You know what I mean?
I think. Go ahead, Andy.
I'll go ahead. I was just gonna mess with Mark Yeager, but you're good.
I feel like we're talking metal because that's what we do. But I feel like, also like the highlight for me, aside all the technical stuff, is like spending that time one-on-one with Matt and just the talks that we had. That dude, like all of us, we come to this situation, to this moment with different life experiences and different things that we bring to the table. And Matt spent time with me, and we talked about what really resounds in my head. I think about it every day now, is like, what does it mean to be a professional? And that's something that I really sat and thought about, because I think that like anything we do, especially PDR and especially this new realm of paintless collision repair that we're walking into, is like, what does it mean to be a professional, and am I living up to that? Whether as a person, as a professional, as a technician. And those are the type of things that, I think that conversations like that are going to carry with me throughout my career, the same, if not more, than what I learned about how to repair damage.
Sure. Could agree more. All right, I'm gonna mess with Mark real quick. So Biggs texted me today. He's like, "Hey, you got the sundials?" Like, yeah. He's like, "Send me some videos of them." I was like, "So I think Jaeger's got a bunch of videos. He's been using the crap out of them." He's like, "Mark Jaeger?" Like, for real, bro? For real? Like, Mark ain't even in this industry. He just watched the show, and he's got a brother,
fans.
And he had a brother and a son. I was like, of all the Jaegers, you picked the one that ain't put together. I couldn't help it when I seen his name. I thought that, come on, Biggs. He's stopping by Saturday. I gotta get me a K Power Junior, and I'll plug for my Medusa for my Black Widow.
Nice.
And he got the badass light and couldn't even use it.
He couldn't, yeah. He didn't have a mount.
He got okay.
Come on, bro.
Yeah.
You got to have the mount. The dude. Come on, John. It's been great.
Yeah, great show, man.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Appreciate you coming on, and
I think Matt, we got a text group with Matt, and I think they were talking about you one day in there and stuff, and we were like, we got to get him on. So little did we know we didn't pop your podcast cherry, but
that's all right.
Sloppy seconds.
Nick and Stefan, you're still my first.
What's up, Andy?
What's up?
Yeah, it's been great. I appreciate you guys having me on, letting me kind of explain who I am and what I'm about and what I'm trying to do and where I'm trying to go.
Absolutely.
Anytime. Well, you're in Colorado. You're gonna get hammered with hell here.
Yeah, all the time.
Hopefully,
they went through a little drought.
Then you're gonna be like, yeah, I'm going out full time.
Yeah, that's probably the eventual progression, right?
But here's the good thing is that with your background and what you're doing now, eventually one day, if you did end up opening up a shop, having a hybrid shop where you're able to do a lot of the repair work and do paint stuff like Andy Ray does.
Daniel Krause, look at Daniel Krause and the stuff he's doing.
Yes, I mean
exactly.
It opens up a lot more doors, than strictly just PDR. But if you want to just be a hell guy, then
So for me, I feel like right now I'm having my cake and I'm eating it. My goal, and we'll see how the stars align. There's no certain outcomes, right? But I would love to continue at the body shop, fixing people's cars safely while continuing to incorporate the hybrid repairs. The owner of the shop that I work for, he's all in when it comes to doing that type of repairs and marketing that type of repair to the people in the Denver market. And I might be able to earn for my family like a hail chaser without ever leaving Colorado. So that would be the eventual goal.
Well, that's why if you're in a great shop and that owner and all that's taking care of you, and you're
right,
it already seems like you absolutely love what you're doing right now.
Yes.
So you don't want to burn any bridges,
No.
And you're going to end up, you're in like I said, you're in a hell prone area. So, you're going to get it at the shop, and you're probably going to get a lot of it at some point here. You're their guy.
Or they
That's
have a
why I'm
drought for
just
a couple
putting in the
years,
reps
wasn't it?
right now. Yeah, it was bad. I mean, we got some small little storms here and there, but after 2017, I think 2019, maybe it was 2018, we got hit again, but it was dry until 2023.
Yeah.
That's when it
Yeah.
opened back up. And I mean, there's still cars driving all over town right now that have hail damage on them. Customer has no clue. I mean, I'd say
Wow.
70% of the vehicles that we get into the shop have some type of hail damage on it, whether they've been paid out on it or they weren't even aware. So there's opportunities like that I try to bite into to do some pushing whenever I can.
That's why if we get a car in from like with a door ding on it from Fairview or something, I'm like, bring it here. Let's look under the lights. Just see what they got.
Exactly. Your one dent might turn into 500.
That's it. Real fast.
So real quick, I know we're over the hour mark, but I see you like tattoos. So you want to tell us a little bit about your tattoos there?
Yeah. So, the eventual goal, I've already sold out. I'm definitely going to get my arms completely finished. I think I'll wait till my parents are gone before we do the neck tattoo. But so everyone, has a story. This is probably my favorite one though. This is my grandfather's. I don't know how well you guys can see, but this is my grandfather's pick hammer that he had. I think that was a 1937 stamp on it that he passed down to my father, and then my father passed it down to me. So that's a hammer. It says third generation in the middle there, and it's slapping a dolly there, and it says like father, like son.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then I have this one here. That's my piece for my son. I don't know if we can see it right there. That's my piece for my oldest son. I have my youngest son on my shoulder blade there, and then my last name across.
Oh, we lost you.
But I plan on getting.
There you go.
You lost me?
Well, now you're back. Like now.
You're back now.
Okay. All right. There must have been a lag there. Somebody's calling me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cool, man. So I love tattoos. I love artwork. Like, any artistic form, I'm interested in it. So don't be surprised if next time you see me, it's all black here and all black there.
Nice.
Awesome. Well, good. You need to get one of the Ginger Bros on you.
Yeah. I want a half sleeve, but I can't decide what I want. Like I've thought about it for years. I'm like, I just can't think of that one thing that I really want, like a half sleeve of. So because I'm like you, I want it to mean something if I got it.
Right, exactly. And everything means something different to somebody else, right? It's got to make sense to you.
I'm at almost 46. I'm not starting now. If I was going to do it,
I get it.
Done it a long time ago, but
they'd have spread your wrinkles apart to get in there.
I got the perfect spot right here.
Hey, perfect.
You tattoo me some hair on me, then I'll be good.
You do the bam bam.
Well, Matt, man, we appreciate you coming on, brother.
Yeah, thank you, brother.
And, I appreciate you guys having me. Thanks for your time.
We just do it.
Just do it like a Nike commercial.
Yeah, I'll get a Nike sign. Anyway, so appreciate everybody that was watching tonight and commenting and everything else, and we'll keep you posted on the weeks coming up. I don't know if we're back to every week just yet, but we'll see. We'll see. We may be back on next week. We may not.
Are we going to turn into Dents and Dreams and just pop up randomly?
Dents and Dreams.
Like there's no schedule. I'll be like, I didn't even know he was coming on.
I think you get to a point where it's just like, we'll just do it when we want to.
Yeah,
there you go.
Oh, there he is.
There's my man,
Mark Yeager, fixing dents. Mark Yeager getting sundials.
hey, Biggs. I'll text you or call you tomorrow. I may be somewhere. You're going to be here next weekend or this weekend. So anyway,
will you be here this weekend? Because that's where you're going to be at this weekend.
Well.
I already got my order.
Maybe beginning of next week. I don't know yet. Anyway, at some point he'll be where I'm going. So
right.
Anyway, again, Matt, thank you again. Thank you everybody for watching.
Thank you all.
We will let you know about next week, but Peace out.
Bye, everybody.